Okay. Let me see. If you ask me a question, brilliant. So let's kick off. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm absolutely delighted to have you here, and thank you so much for giving up one or thereabouts of your time, depending on how many questions you have, to be here and to look at the 3 steps, how you can get total clarity about what your number 1 goal is this year and how you want to achieve it. So first of all, what I'd like to ask you is, are you all based in the UK? Are you dialing from the UK? So are we in the same time zone? Because I know not everyone is. And where in the UK are you? So I'm based in London. Whereabouts is everyone? Sorry, Thurrock in London. Brilliant. London as well, Felicia. Cool. Fabulous. So we're here because we want to talk about goals, business goals. So my last question, Sydney, Diana, that's amazing. Must be really early for you, 6 a.m., 5 a.m. Wow, early rise, 4 a.m. Oh my gosh, you're starting a day with a cake, clearly. Fantastic, welcome. What I wanted to ask first of you, is whether the goals you have, are they all business goals? Because I know there were different interests and people have written to me with different types of goals they had. So if you could let me know if you have business goals or other goals that you want to look at during today's and tomorrow's session. This will just help me to tailor some of the questions and focus. That would be great. I'm just looking at the chat as well to hear that from you. Business and personal. Okay, mix, business, brilliant. Okay, right. So I'm going to prioritize business and health. Ooh, amazing. So I'm going to prioritize business. However, I find that business success is linked to how we do outside the business life as well. So different goals within our life as well. So this is why you're going to see in the workbook and what I'm going to be sharing, so that the focus will be on business, but there will be other aspects of it as well. So how are we going to do this? I'm going to switch from using me right now to slides in a moment. And while I'm in the slide view, I can't see the chat, but please do post your questions, any queries you have on an ongoing basis, maybe with the queue before that or in the Q&A separate chat. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to have a look there. If you want to speak, just raise your hand, and when I come out of the slides, I will be able to give you your voice and speak to you directly, and you will be able to speak to me directly. So with that, if everyone's okay, let's just jump right in. We're going to be doing quite a lot of work today and tomorrow. So Diana waking up at 4 a.m. to be here, it's definitely going to be worth it. That's where we are. So how to reach your number 1 business goal this year, and obviously some of the personal and health goals you have as well. So entirely up to you which one you focus on, or maybe more than one. So I'm just trying to move the screen to the next slide, and it's not playing along. Let me just check again. Just a moment. Right. So what are we going to cover today? First of all, so we're going to start with the vision. And the vision is the first of the 3 steps that we're going to cover to get you to be crystal clear about your goal first, and then how to achieve it in this current year. So the vision is the very first step. And I explain in a moment also why, and why it's important for the whole process from there on. We're going then to move on from the vision to become more specific and look at the goal, potential goals that you have, and how they need to be structured to actually give you the best chances of achieving them. And also then following on from that, the plan, how you want the plan to look like, how it needs to be broken down and also set out and set up. So you know exactly you're going to have the best chances of reaching your goal. There are tricks and hacks to it, and knowing them is really helpful. And finally, with all the different steps in place, the plan in place, it is sometimes challenging to stick to it. So the third part, which we're going to cover tomorrow, is going to be about how to give yourself the best chances of maintaining that momentum. So for after today and tomorrow, what you have actually is a host of tools that you can use and also draw in others to help you to achieve your goal, because very often the goal is not just for you. When you achieve it, it kind of radiates into the environment, people who are around you. So very often, even though it starts with you, it actually benefits a much broader group of people than just yourself. What qualifies me to speak to you? So I have founded Accountable Mindset following 20 years of a career in the corporate world. And what I do today is to help small businesses to leverage best practice from big companies, the best practice that's relevant to them today, to achieve the best results they can and hit the number one goal. This could be a certain revenue, this could be a certain number of clients. Most of the time they are, of course, connected. And also I help people with their personal goals where they are linked to the success of achieving the business goals. And very often there is a correlation as well. So 20 years of experience. I have, while I've been still in the corporate world, I started to invest in property in 2006. So I have quite a few years of experience. I'm a landlord by now as well. And when I resigned last year, I initially focused on working with setting up a property portfolio and a property business. However, what happened is I've been approached more and more to help people with their property and other businesses. So I found that more and more of my time, I was supporting people with my business knowledge to grow their businesses and set them up in a way where they could grow most quickly. And also this then linked into some of the life coaching I mentioned. So I'm a certified coach now as well. What I have been learning over the last year or so, I am transferring to yourself and offering yourself a support and knowledge so you can avoid making some of the mistakes I've made as well when I transitioned from the corporate world into the being self-employed and being a business owner full-time. You can see on the right-hand side some of the businesses I've worked with, and also the last business I ran myself was over 60 million turnover, and taking some of these best practices that made these businesses grow to that size they are and translating them to growing businesses like ours is actually a very interesting best practice, and there's a lot of things that we can actually learn and adapt to us as small businesses and help us grow. So some of the results, what people say, of course, it's not just about what I think how amazing I can support people and the value I can deliver. There is a number of people who have been very successful already and achieving their different goals, and they might have been smaller or bigger over the weeks and months, but they have all shown that I've really benefited from the support I've been offering, and the way how I translated the bigger global business best practices onto smaller businesses, and in some cases also coaching around personal life, has really, really worked to the benefit to the people I have been interacting with, which is of course fantastic. That's why I'm doing it. So just to check now that you have all the workbook, let me come out of the presentation for a moment and have a look at the chat. So let me know if so far everything's okay. You have the workbooks and you're ready to start, right? Yes, is this a yes? Shona, Diana, Felicia, Mary, Stephen. Yeah, oh, fabulous. I can see a yes. Everyone's awake and kicking. Ah, amazing. Exclamation mark. I like that. Brilliant. Okay. Any questions? Anything at all? Then Now's a good time to ask. Going to check, no raised hands. Stephen, hi. Yeah, everyone, brilliant. Okay, great. So let's kick off with why we're all here. And just share the screen again. Here we go. So shut down the chat. Apologies for a second. Right. There we go. So the first one we're going to cover is the vision. And the questions, of course, do you have a vision? Are you happy with where your vision is? Just type into the chat if that's okay, whether you have a vision and how you feel about it, because sometimes we create a vision and over time actually progress so quickly. Sometimes the vision stays actually behind. So I've spoken to people in the last couple of weeks who told me that they've reviewed effectively the vision they created a couple of years ago and they needed to update it. So a vision is not once in a lifetime. It is something that we have to regularly look at and update. And I come to this, why this really matters a lot in a moment. So first of all, the question is, what is a vision? And a vision is an ability, and I really like that definition, ability to think about the plan or the future with imagination and wisdom. And this is something that implies that the vision is not just for the here and now, it's really for the future, being bold, being ambitious, really thinking about what you imagine your future is going to be. So your business, what is it going to be? Some of the personal goals, some of the health ambitions. You know, how do you see yourself? So I have a client who, for example, uses as a reference for her health a picture of J.Lo, you know, with her super toned abs. And this is something that energizes and motivates her specifically for health, because this is her vision, where she is going, where she wants to be. For the business, very often people use as a vision a person or a business that they're familiar with and they have insights into. It was really important as well to have that vision, because as things get tough during change, and when we go for a goal, this normally means creating change and experiencing change. So when we do that, when we focus on achieving a goal, then we have to remember that change is actually not a straight line. And I'm not sure if many of you, or how many of you know this emotional journey curve. I use it quite often to highlight that actually when we look at change, because it can be challenging. So this shows specifically the different emotional states we can find ourselves when we go from a point, wherever you are right now, to the point B, where you have seen the transformation, where you position your vision effectively. Point B is where you want to be, what you want to achieve. And going on the way, there are goals that we need to achieve, and there will be challenges. There might be more than one goal on the way. And it starts, obviously, you know, you're all here because you want to do it. You're all really excited and energized and looking forward to really getting on with it. Over time, though, you know, as the day kicks in and you look at then the plan that you're going to have, and there are challenges maybe around your work or family, things like this, what you then will see is things that you face that you have to overcome. And the vision really becomes more and more important as you move through the journey, where it's this crisis. Exactly, that's the point where a lot of people think about letting go of the goal and just continuing as before, because it seems too tough, too difficult. So the vision is really there to get you over this challenge, over this time where you just feel really deflated, feel challenges, and not everything is happening as you would like. So the vision ultimately has to be larger than the most negative emotion then that you experience on the way between where you are right now and the vision. So when you find that, and the vision, so the end point where you want to be, so your end goal. So the vision at the end has to really carry you through all these times where you feel doubt, challenge, and maybe not everything is going to plan as you would like it to be. So really important. And where what happens is that normally people experience a number of struggles with creating their vision. So whether you have a vision or you're looking at starting a vision from scratch right now, the question is, how do you think about it and how do you go about it? So the main struggles that people have is actually, and I had this for a long time, they believe that it's enough to have the vision in your head. And there are two main reasons why this actually is not as good as having it on a vision board or in images. So first of all, putting images on your vision is something, it's related to a physiological brain function. So what happens is that our brain assigns a higher value to images than to words. It's just the way it is. So when we put images in our vision, it actually becomes more appealing to the brain. And what happens is something called value tagging. So what this means is that actually the images imprint more strongly on our brain than just words. So this is why it's important to have images in our vision, not just in our head, but actually physically outside. And the second thing why it's really important to have the vision outside and printed is because there is something that when we're in new situation, this is going back to when we were living in caves. New situations very often meant a lot of risk, potentially high risk to health and life. So the physiological reaction to something that's new and challenging for the body is to release cortisol and adrenaline. And this just means that the levels of stress are increased and we are more alert and more nervous and avoid maybe more doing something new. So what happens when you put your vision on a vision board and outside your head is actually you're able to look at that vision, that challenging, really, some people call it big hairy goal, that huge vision. You put it somewhere you can see it all the time. And every time you see it, that response from your body and from your brain actually decreases. So over time, the big challenge becomes less and less challenging, and your vision becomes more and more achievable and attainable. And that's something that's the main reason why it's really important to put it on paper. The second reason why people find challenges with the vision is because of not having a clear reason why. So it's sometimes very interesting to see that someone might actually have taken across a reason why from the family or the environment. It might have been shaped even by the social media these days. And being really clear what your reason why is for having that vision and where you want to be, what you want to achieve is really, really important. So it's worth checking with yourself that this is really your reason why and not someone else's, because if you're not fully bought in, even subconsciously, into what you're doing, it's going to be quite challenging to have a very compelling vision for yourself. And finally, the reason why we very often don't get the best of vision or the strongest vision are self-limiting beliefs. So again, our environment, work, friends, family, colleagues, social media, again, news, everyone contributes to shaping our views of the world. And this can translate into self-limiting beliefs, which can be around, what we can do, how much we can earn, what we're worth, and really limit us in what we think is possible for us and how we want our vision to be and create. So how do we get over this? And this is now the exciting part. This is where you come in and where I'll be handing over to you in a moment. So when you take your workbook, you can see on page 2, 3, and 4, there's a list of templates. And the vision, because a lot of people told me that they find quite difficult to where to start with the vision. What I've done is I've actually broken it down into smaller parts. And because this is we're focusing mostly on business, or primarily is, I've broken down the business vision into a number of elements, which is who's your ideal client, what is the ideal client problem that you're solving, what's the ideal solution, the vision for how you're going to solve the problem, and then the overall business setup. So as a company, overall, how you want to run it. And then, of course, in addition to that, there's the family, home, and health and passion. And I've added the templates for you. However, because of where we are today and because of the time we have, what I would suggest is that you pick one of the business templates. The end for you might be more the health one. It's entirely up to you. And pick one of them from your workbook. And we're going to spend just 5 minutes having a look at what you imagine and filling in the words that you can into the template, but also imagine what images you see when you visualize the ideal situation for yourself. So whether it's the ideal client image or what your solution looks like, the vision for your solution might be evolved from where you are, how you address the client challenge. So that's what I would suggest we do. 3 steps to that. First of all, visualize. So this is going to be the starting point for you to visualize. Out with today, what I suggest, if you can do, is try and transfer that vision onto paper. Whether this is a printout of the template or whether this is a piece of paper that you take. Every time where you have a visual of your vision that you can look at, as I mentioned earlier, this is really going to help you get closer to it, remind yourself, but also make it more real for your brain to get there. And then obviously, when you have it ready, then putting in a place where you can see it every morning, every evening is great. In terms of tips, and I'm going to come to questions in a moment. In terms of tips, so I spoke a couple of weeks ago with someone who approached me, and they really struggled with the idea of a vision. And what we then looked at was which options she had. And in the end, she was really excited about doing it with her children, because then she could really see how it would be almost like a small art project with the children and the husband. And they could really do this all together as a family, effectively, project, and bring everyone in together. And this is what worked for her. So this is just a couple of examples I'm sharing with you now. It doesn't have to be very elaborate. A vision is not about being elaborate. It's about being authentic to you. It could be very complex. If you're an artist, you painter, you could paint it, of course. Take all the pictures yourself if you're a photographer. But normally it's better to have it done than not have anything at all. So these are 2 I'm sharing with you. So the work vision on the right is one that I did for my own business, for myself, which is around working together, being a global business, and also helping both clients and the team to have unique experiences that help grow. And then there's the words around it as well. On the right-hand side, I put in a social vision of what a social vision for someone could look like, what they want to be, where they would like to go, and how social they would like to be in their life. So just two very different ones. I'm going to come out of the share now and see if you have any questions before I will ask you to spend 5 minutes just looking at, for picking one of the templates, whether it's work, one of the elements, or something personal. Take one of the templates and really visualize what your vision is, maybe what the updated vision is, what words you put down to it, and which pictures, until tomorrow, hopefully, you'll be able to find to actually have something to hold in your hands tomorrow by the time we speak again. So you already have that vision you will have created this way your vision within 24 hours, which is absolutely phenomenal. So let me know if you have any questions. So whether it's raising your hand in the chat or the Q&A, that's all available to you. I'm just looking if there's anything. Are there any questions or anything that is not making sense, or that would stop you from starting right now, which is what we're going to do in a moment? Okay, right. Shauna.
Hello.
Hi, Shauna.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I struggle with this bit when I'm thinking about the client because, as you know, but the other people probably don't, that my client is kind of like the young people that I want to support, but they're not the people I'm selling to, because the young people, if you know what I mean, it's like I need the money to come from somewhere else but the client is the young person. So that creates like a whirlwind of confusion for me when I look at things like this. Does that make sense?
Makes 100% sense. And thank you so much for asking this. I think that's a really important question, because you can have actually more than one client depending where you are within your process. So when you think your process is from finding a property through finding investors to then actually providing work experience to the young people, to then selling the property or renting it out.
Yeah.
At the different stages of that process, you will actually have different clients. When you're looking for investors, they will be your clients. When you're looking to buy a property, the seller might be your client, because effectively you want to make a deal. So it will change over time. You're absolutely right. It won't just be one client at a time. So when you have a more complex process, where your clients might change, this makes absolute sense. And then it would be good to pick one of them and then map the ideal client as that particular client, that process step that you're in. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Does it help? Great. Okay, fabulous. Thank you. I see that David and Melissa have joined us. Hi, thanks so much for being here. I don't know how much you've heard of what I was saying. So does it all make sense to you? Are you ready to go into 5 minutes of vision mapping and creation or updating, depending on where you are? Just let me know that you have all the information that you need at this point in time. No worries. You have the workbook. I'm just going to maybe post a link again, just to make sure that you have that. This really helps with the template. So I hope David is okay. Yes, great. Oh, Essex, fabulous. Thank you so much for joining. So you have all the workbook now. So what I suggest, it's now 1931. This is going to be a bit military style, but I really want to make sure that you get the results you came for. So so at this point in time, if I just give you 5 minutes until 1936, okay, to have a look at the template, pick one from the workbook, and really put down where you want the vision to be for either that particular part of the business or your personal life. It's entirely up to you which one you choose. If that's okay, I'm going to say go, and I'm going to give you 5 minutes to focus. And then when we come back, what I would really ask you to do is for someone to share maybe how that was for them or what the vision is. That would be absolutely amazing. Yes, so for that time, I'm going to share the example that I was sharing with you before of what that looks like, right? So hopefully that's all visible, Stephen, and will be helpful to everyone. Okay, so very excited to hear everyone back in 5 minutes. Oh, sorry, Stephen, I didn't notice. So it's in the workbook. In the workbook, you have on pages 2, 3, and 4, the various templates. Okay, got there. Amazing. So I'm here, I'm looking at the chat. So if you have any questions, just to let me know. Otherwise, I'll leave the examples open so you can use them for reference as well. So how is everyone? Have you had a bit of time to look at it, to consider what your vision looks like in the area? Which, just out of interest, which one did you pick? Maybe you can share that with us. Ideal business setup, great. Ideal business setup, amazing. Does it help to look at the template in terms of the vision and the angles to look at it? Someone's being creative, amazing. Drawing pictures, I love that, because this is really, it's actually leading me right into the couple of questions that I've been asked in the meantime. So first of all, one of the questions is how to stop a vision seem too far away to be motivating. And I think this is something that only you can answer, because ultimately you know how you want to live, whether it's the professional life or whether it's the personal life. If you don't believe it to start with, then you shouldn't be setting it. So a vision should be inspiring. However, if you have doubts from the very beginning whether you can achieve it, then probably it might not be the best vision for you. So it should be something that inspires and you truly believe you can achieve it. And if it seems too far away, then think about, what would be maybe the vision before that. And then start with that, because as I said before, a vision is not forever. A vision will change over time and will develop maybe in one of many directions, depending on how you evolve as a person and your life and your environment. So I would suggest for a vision, if you feel it's a bit what your ideal vision is, you don't believe it, just scale it back a bit to something that truly inspires you instead of stressing you, because that's definitely not what a vision should be doing. So I hope this answers the question. And the second question that came in as well was that you draw up a vision and how to make the vision really resonate instead of ending up in a drawer. And I think the answer is similar to the previous answer. Is it has to inspire you. So when I look at my vision, I'm really excited. It really gets me out of bed in the morning, and that's what a vision should do. So when I don't know, when there's a challenge or maybe a dip, and I'm wondering if I'm doing the right thing. When I look at the vision, it really reminds me of why I'm doing it. So my reason why, and where I want to be in the longer term. So a vision has really to inspire and be something like let's say your partner, right? You look at them and you're just happy, right? They make you happy. So that's what a vision should be like. Something that really either compliments you or makes you a better person. You feel like it at least, and really uplifts you and makes you feel that you really want to go for it and put all the actions in place that you have on your plan, which is what we're going to come to in a moment. So I hope this answers the question. Let me know if you have any more, because these are great questions, and not just from people I speak to, but who speak to me, but also from personal experience. I do know that a vision that inspires sometimes takes a bit of time to create, with some reading or watching videos, listening to people who have achieved great things. So it has to be really tailor-made, and also will change over time. So I hope this helps. And the vision before that helps. Fantastic, great. Well, I'm pleased about that. Hopefully this one won't land up in the drawer, and because otherwise this would be a shame, right? You have now spent half an hour looking at it, and it would be great if you could make this happen. So what's going to happen next? I'm going to ask you, are you willing, prepared, and going to do whatever you can to actually have at least one of these visions for tomorrow? So if you have any questions or any uncertainty about where it's going, you can ask me that tomorrow, because that's what we're going to start with tomorrow, first thing. So can I have a commitment from everyone, which would be absolutely amazing, so you know that you completely and 100% in, and you really want to make this happen between today and tomorrow, whether it's drawing or printing or writing. Great, Shauna, thanks very much. I hope everyone else is on board as well. And please bear in mind, it's not about being perfect. Diana, great. That's 20 to 5 a.m. You're totally amazing. Love that. Stephen, great. Love to see that. Melissa, fabulous. The business model. Looking forward to hearing all about it tomorrow. Great. Okay. So we're all here. We're all energized. So the next thing we're going to look at is how to translate a vision into a goal that really works, and then also a plan that can be implemented. So first of all, let me ask you, before I go into the slides, do you have a plan? Do you have a goal that you have set for yourself in writing? And do you have a plan? I'm just watching the chat right now. there's anything. Goal, plan. Okay, that's interesting. Goal, yes. Plan, murky. Plans dissolve. Very interesting. We're going to speak about this, Stephen. Thank you for bringing that up. Big goal for this year. Yep, I'm going to answer that in a moment. Fabulous. Okay, so I'm going to dive into the slides. I won't see the comments for a moment until I come back. Vision goal, yes, plan not clear. Thanks, David. That's perfect. Brilliant. Great. So we're going to be covering all the right things then. I can see my slides have a vision of their own for today. Let me just get out of the presentation mode. I think that's what they are not so keen on. Share. And sorry, guys, this is being a bit tricky, appears to me. Right, here we go. So next one. The goal and the plan. So for the transformational goal and the plan that really evolves with you, and someone has already brought this up, it's really important to have some clear guidelines around what the goal looks like and how the plan then aligns right with the goal. So this is really for you to imagine that you have absolute crystal clarity about what your goal is. And because it's so crystal clear, then the plans evolve with that goal. Regardless of what happens, the plan will evolve to support that goal and make it happen. Which is not happening with my slides. So share again. You see, if I focus just on this one, it's going to follow. If we want to do. Brilliant. So what happens with the goal and with the plan? So where are the challenges which people face? And again, a couple of the things have already come up. Where a vision really sets a future image of where you want to be, how you want to feel, what you want to do. The goal is effectively like a milestone on the way there. So just imagine if you're taking your kids out maybe on a holiday, you will have pit stops on the way to get there the best possible way at the end. And your goal is almost like the pit stops on the way to that vision that you have for yourself, for your business. And the parts of your life that are relevant to you. So there are certain things that a goal has to be. And very often the reason why a goal is not being achieved is because some of these recurrent challenges are not being met. So first one is a goal has to be smart. And most of you probably had heard about it before. So this is about being a specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time specific. It's really important to make sure that this criteria are being met for the goal, that it really talks about numbers, percentages, not just a feeling or generic what someone wants to achieve, because it's very difficult then to know to start with if you've even met it, right? So I saw a couple of days ago someone in the group saying that they are now looking to restart a certain project, and their goal was to effectively do that. And this is a very generic statement. So restart could mean anything, and it might mean something to the person, but actually if it's too vague, they will never know if they've achieved it or not. So it's really good to be very, very specific and make goals smart. So for those of you who have the goals and maybe updating the goals, that's the first thing to consider. And I'm going to answer the question around the duration in a moment. So some people also don't believe in planning. So where things go wrong with goal setting and planning is that people think, well, it's going to change anyway, because things happen, life gets in the way, planning is kind of a waste of time. And the interesting part is that failing to plan is normally planning to fail. And this is not in any kind of dramatic way. It's just when you don't know how to get from A to B, let's say you're driving, if you haven't checked that, you have the car keys, you have the oil in the car, the petrol in the car, or you've charged the electricity, right? Even more important, how will you know that you're ever going to get there, right? So effectively knowing what you need for a car journey, and in your head checking this, making sure that all these criteria are met, all this is working. This is the plan, the equivalent of a plan that will take you from wherever you are right now to where the goal is on the way to your vision. So I find this quite a practical and good example of showing that actually planning is not about constraining, or it's not about putting something so rigid in place that it makes it impossible to actually reach the goal in the end. It really is about having a view as to where things are going. So plan, really important. And then finally, people who want to achieve a goal, and I think all of us on this call want to, we get very passionate about it, right? So you want to achieve it, you're passionate, you're really putting clearly your time in, right? Your effort, because we're having a conversation, so clearly you're all in. And sometimes it then ends up being this lonely island, desert island syndrome, where we actually forget that we're not alone. And the people around us might not be aware of what we want to achieve, might not necessarily be prepared to support us, where things are going to change, because to achieve a goal, most of the time we have to make some changes. And everyone around us might not be aware and not necessarily on board if they know nothing about it. So taking them along, and also making sure that we think about the time we're going to need to spend to achieve that goal for these different activities, is very important. And there's a bonus I've thrown into the workbook as well, which has helped quite a number of people to actually think this through. But this is then the next step in your own time. So what we're going to do now is looking again at the workbook, and I've put the templates in for you on pages 4 and 5. This is the outline of the goal and the plan. So what you can see, first of all, is that the goal is fully integrated into the planning. So when you start where you are now, and this is going back to Shauna's question, because we're looking at what you want to achieve this year, and we're already in May, so it's almost half the year gone, what you can say, instead of 12 months' time, what you can say is where you want to be in 6 months' time. Alternatively, as the starting point, thinking from where you are today, think about where you want to be in 12 months' time, so a year from now. However, 6 months on the way, this is going to be one of the milestones. Where do you want to get to by then? So how this process really works well is when you start with where you are right now, think about where you want to be in 6 or 12 months' time, and then look at 3 monthly chunks. So these are kind of the milestones on the way, the pit stops on the way, to start breaking down that big goal, what can be really a big goal and maybe also very challenging, maybe daunting even. Try to break it down into smaller steps how to get there. And we won't have time today, so this is all for you to help you outside our conversation. But the next step would be breaking it down into what this means on a monthly basis, in terms of achieving goals, sub-goals, smaller goals. Also how you want to celebrate, very important. So there's a reward built in that you can look forward to. And also, and one of my coaches actually has done this, he has printed out the weekly goal template and has laminated it. So every week he actually now updates it and then tracks this on a weekly basis. And actually there are some people involved who he works with as well, and they make their notes as well. So this is something that he's involved that way. So from here, 3 steps, right? So what we're going to look at, defining a SMART goal, or if you already have a goal, just sense checking, it's all there. Starting with 1, obviously you can define more or break down the bigger goals, start doing this already high level plan. And this is what we're going to spend the next 5 minutes on. So this to start again, this first step, make this first step, defining goal, and maybe start breaking it down while we're here together. So I'm going to come out of the slides now. You can ask me anything you want. and anything that's not clear. And then we're going to jump right in. And sorry, I just wanted to show you one more thing before I come out. This is an example of what a SMART goal looks like. So specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound, right? So the template itself already helps with the time bound. So I've created it specifically that way. And this is an example of someone who is looking to be promoted in the work life, but also has a couple of home and health goals and something around the passion, wanting to learn to fly. So everyone has one. It's not mine, by the way. It's someone else's. So that's just as an example. So I'm going to come out and find out from you. Does it make sense? Do you have any questions? Because what I would like to do next is, with the next set of templates, have a look at what's in 6-12 months. So first of all, what's the goal that you want to achieve? Make sure that you formulate in a smart way. And I would be really keen also to see a couple of things from you, you know, what you're planning this goal to be. And then we're going to jump right in. So are there any questions at all before we spend 5 minutes, you spend 5 minutes working on the goal and plan? So I'm watching the chat, I'm watching the Q&A. Don't see any questions, no raised hands. So can I assume that it's all clear and no questions? Have I answered the questions you had, maybe, where you weren't sure before? All clear, fabulous. Great, so it's now 54, so 55, gosh. So 59, let's do 4 minutes just to kick it off, unless, and then I really want to make sure that that we have enough time just to close. So if that's okay, you've got your template, so let's go. Amazing. So how is everyone doing? How did it go? I know this was limited time with what you had, but okay, breaking down makes it easier to see. Okay. And what I always suggest is literally breaking it down to the weekly level, because many people have diaries or they have calendars. And breaking it down to that level, just looking at the goal and then looking at your diary or calendar, often shows the clashes. And we subconsciously very often assume that we can just do things, and we just somehow going to make it all happen. The challenge, of course, is that to do in limited time that we have to do one thing, we have to drop something else. And sometimes these things, if they are not controlled, can really cause mayhem, because they can just, we don't attend a meeting, or maybe we miss a deadline. And over time, these things can really accumulate. So thinking up front how everything aligns and works, and what we might have to stop to be able to do this new thing related to our goal, or how to do it more efficiently, is really, really important. This is really where the bonus template comes in, which is really simple but very effective, looking at, if we're adding to achieve the goal an additional hour of work, maybe a day or a week, where's that time going to come from? Because time is not a rubber band, unfortunately, and we have to live with the reality. So controlling it and managing it from the beginning and being clear about it, allowing it to have conversations with people who maybe have to take something additional on, or where maybe we have to do some swaps and ask for some support, is really going to help. Great. Are there any other comments? So how was this for everyone else? Shauna, David, Diana, Felicia, Mary, Stephen, anything that you want to share, anything you want to ask? Because this is really where it's going to be over to you again, until we see each other again tomorrow, to look further into this and then ask me any questions that you might have on the topic. Okay, great, Shauna, thank you. I can't see anything in the Q&A. Brilliant. Okay. Anything anyone wants, so I can, if anyone wants to ask something directly as opposed to typing, I know this is not everyone's preference. If anyone wants to ask anything, do you have the option to raise your hand? Is this something that anyone wants to take up? No. Okay. So this is where I would leave you for today. This was a long response. Thank you so much, Diana. Okay, fabulous. That's brilliant. Thanks for the feedback. What I would suggest is, from here, if you want to also make a commitment, where possible, that you will add more detail to the plan. You see, what you can break down. Is there anything that you actually need to look up, maybe, or to check with someone, so you can make that plan really specific, measurable, and so forth, that goal, to be able to make the plan as solid, but then also flexible. So what I say about a good plan is actually freedom in the framework. So a plan offers you a framework where you know where things happen, how they are interconnected, and this gives you the freedom to be able to change things around. And this freedom cannot exist if you don't have a framework, but the framework has to be flexible enough to allow for this freedom to happen. I hope I have your commitment to look at the goal and the plan by tomorrow as well. And what we're going to do Thank you so much, David. My pleasure. And what we're going to do tomorrow, so same time tomorrow. So I hope Diana, 4 a.m. is still possible. I really admire that. Thank you for being here. Everyone else as well. I know that if some other time zones as well. So thank you so much for putting your time into this. And I really want to make sure that you get everything that you want and need from this. So tomorrow we're going to be looking at how to embed everything and give you the best chances of actually making this plan work and make your environment not a possible challenge or hindrance, but actually an instrument that increases the chances of reaching that goal and achieving ultimately your vision, which is what you want to do. This is what it's about. So this is why, again, the vision, make sure the vision is amazing. You really want to look at it. So I'm going to share with you. So right now I'm looking actually just above the camera. I can see the sky with some clouds going passing through and the sunset. So very often my vision is actually just seeing that. So the view from my flat, from one of the windows, actually the vision I have from what I would like to see from my window. And anytime I see it, it's really inspirational. And I wish I could share this with you. I can't turn the camera just around, but find something that really makes you smile on the inside, on the outside. And then you know this is the vision for you. Whatever the challenge is, and it might be not as huge as someone else's, but that's not what it's about. Your vision has to appeal to you and make you smile and really make all the difference for you. So sorry, I can see there's something in the chat as well. Amazing. So thank you so much to everyone for being here. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time. We're going to talk about accountability, mindset, and time as well. So if you have any questions in the meantime, we're going to talk about them. You can always post me. You have my email address. I'm actually going to make sure that I drop it in the chat again. Anything you need, I'm really delighted to help you with. Sorry, I should have typed before. And I really want to make sure that you get maximum out of this from investing your time into being here and going through this vision, this planning, and tomorrow through how to make it stick. So if you want to, you can all download the chat. I don't know if all of you know. So on the right-hand side of panelists and attendees, you can see an option to save the chat. So if you want to save any of this, you have that option here. And let me know anything that that you want to discuss. If you want to add something to our discussion tomorrow, just let me know when we open. So until then, have a great visioning time and planning goal setting. And I really, really look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thank you and have a good morning, evening, and day. Take care. Bye-bye.